happens when you fall? Almost give up, gotta crawl. Feels like too much, pick back up again, back up again, back up again. Can't get scared to try, I get scared to fly. But the turbulence is better than getting left behind. I don't know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it is, but I know when I get there, when I find it, it's for me. I don't know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it is, but I know when I get there, when I find it, it's for me. It's gonna hurt to grow, it's gonna hurt, I know. There are lessons in the pain, only the strong go insane. I get scared to try, I get scared to fly. But the turbulence is better than getting left behind. Don't get left behind. I don't know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it is, but I know when I get there, when I find it, it's for me. I don't know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it is, but I know when I get there, when I find it, it's for me.
I just get excited whenever I hear Black Girl Magic, just because when that movement started, I think even before that, at first it was like a natural hair movement, and then that kind of really got us in this mindset of accepting ourselves as exactly how we are. And I think that kind of springboarded the whole Black Girl Magic movement. And the whole thing has been exciting to me because there are so many parts of myself that I was taught not to accept or not to embrace because it was like the wrong type of black. And so Black Girl Magic is all encompassing. You can be the weird black girl, the quirky black girl, like the nerdy black girl, and still have Black Girl Magic. Like, it is a movement for all of us, regardless of your complexion, whether you're super dark or super light, whether you have straight hair, kinky hair. Like, Black Girl Magic just is like what we are, which is something that is undefinable, but also just like really exciting. And I don't know, I feel like it's our ancestors' wildest dreams. So that's what Black Girl Magic is.
Black girls, you know, we're magical. Yes, absolutely. We surely are. Absolutely. Yeah, but guess what? We of course we woke up like this, but we had to work hard to get to where we're at. It's hard to really describe. It's really hard to, it's something untouchable. That's what I can say. It's untouchable.
When I think of Black Girl Magic, wow, I think of just all the women who have just been pioneers in, you know, every industry that we see, and just really have been confident in their voices and who they are, but definitely being creative. I think we are creators. We find a way to make, you know, to make something out of whatever that we're giving, and that's, in a sense, is magical.
No matter how busy my mom was with working those 2 to 3 jobs, she made sure that my homework was done. Not only that it was done, but that it was correct. And please know that if it wasn't, I needed to correct it, because that was the value that she instilled in me. If you want something, no one is going to just hand it to you. You have to work for it. You have to sacrifice. You have to maybe do without to kind of get to your goal. But once you get to that goal, you'll understand what the struggle was like. Those values is truly what helped to kind of shape me and pass on the knowledge to my sisters.
Someone may tell us that we shouldn't be in a certain place, that we shouldn't achieve certain things, but we should be able to overcome that. And then we should give those things to the world. We should make the world a better place. We should find that little black girl, and we should mentor that little black girl and guide her into the person that she was designed to become.
As a Black woman in the United States, I feel confident. I'm not someone who, goes out in my daily life and I'm concerned to say, oh my gosh, this could happen or that might happen. Or, when you watch the news now, everyone's like, oh, poor little Black girl, poor little Black woman. What's in the news, of course, is horrific. And I personally experienced it because my cousin was killed by the police in Brooklyn. But we have families, we have regular lives just like everyone else. I don't get consumed with the media.
You have an aura that comes across of just confidence because of the Black culture and what we brought to America. You have to be at a place like this. This place wouldn't exist without us. But I can't act like that. I can't act like that, but I have to know it. You can walk, like I said, with that confidence and with that understanding that I have the know-how, I have the knowledge, I have the tenacity, I have the audacity even to go after my dreams. Just by the color of your skin, when you walk into certain spaces and there is a narrative about you that has been created before you even got the opportunity to tell who you are or what you are about, you are constantly hitting up against that narrative to prove that that is not who you are. When one has to constantly be thoughtful of that, has to constantly work against that, it brings on other problems. The trauma of me constantly having to not present myself in spaces, but prove myself in spaces. Because now I'm having to show you that I'm not who it is that this society has painted me to be. And then once you choose to believe me, maybe I'll be able to have the opportunity to present myself. But I am constantly having to prove myself. And not only does that cause trauma on my spirit, it causes trauma on my body, it causes trauma on my soul, in which as a mother, that trauma, I then often pass on to my children.
I have to do a lot of forgiving. I have to do a lot of forgiving because people only repeat what they know, and a lot of people have learned ignorance. To be African American, to be Black, to be African in the US, it's a lot. It takes a lot, and we've been through a lot and are still going through a lot, and forgiveness is where it's at, because otherwise, what else is there?
I've been through things that could have knocked the ability to love out of people 1,000,000 times, but I never lost that ability. Can we just be treated like people? Can we just live? Can we just matter? Or is it just like, are we gonna have to keep asking for your permission? Are we gonna have to keep asking for permission to live out here? Because we're people. We're not, some subsect of human, like some different kind of human race. Like, we're actually people out here. So, I don't know. I don't know when it's gonna get together, but hopefully one day.
How are Black women triumphant? How are we not? We win at everything we put our hand to, pretty much. Obviously, it's your own skill set and how you're wired, but I feel like once we put our mind to it, we win. And I think because it was embedded in us also to be losers, to be only a certain kind of person and only a certain stereotype that we had to adhere to because that was shown in the media, or that's how they wanted us portrayed to keep us feeling insignificant and less than. We still rise above. We still rise to the occasion and beat people's tails, and I love it. I mean, look at Venus and Serena Williams, like bow to the queens. It just warms my heart every time I think about it, because we are truly triumphant no matter what anybody throws at us, even our own. What we try to throw at our own women, we always rise to the occasion and rise above and excel at whatever is thrown at us. We are some of the smartest, most paid women in the world, most educated, and I just think that we always accept the challenge because it's fueling to us. It just makes us feel stronger because we know that we are, and so we have to prove. And that's another thing. It's always taught to us that we have to work 10 times harder to get half of what the rest of the world is getting. And so that in itself is embedded in us because of what we've been shown, what we've been taught, what has been perceived of us. So our parents, their parents, and their parents have taught us that we have to work 10 times as hard, if not more, just to get half of what they get. And so we are already trying to knock things out of the park, and so we step up, and we do every single time.
I knew I had a calling to do something, so no matter where I went, I tried to use that calling, but I didn't have a clear direction of what I was supposed to do. So I feel like prison is what set me down to really understand, like, I need to help people, but help people how? And that's where I came up with my business, that I want to help people with society and incarceration, you know, get the knowledge and get the tools in order to transition back into society and, you know, have confidence. A lot of people coming home don't have the confidence. And I feel like, you know, my story is you can overcome anything. I mean, look at me. I had a child at 16. I've been to prison. I was in a 4.5 years domestic abuse relationship. I mean, I could have died. And I'm still here. I'm still standing. My story is I'm here to motivate people that they can overcome anything.
When I think Black Girl Magic, the first word that comes to my mind is purpose. You know, when you're living in your purpose, there's a magical thing about that. It's not always the easiest thing to do because it doesn't necessarily butter your bread all the time. But when you're living in your purpose, the sacrifices that you make, it's almost like it's not even a sacrifice. It's just a building block to get you toward where you're supposed to be in life. And when you're able to reflect on those buildable things, you're like, that, I couldn't have scripted that. You know, you couldn't have written a better script for your life than how you allowed it to play out because you were walking in your purpose. And that to me is magical. The resilience of Black women is something that comes from our ancestors and our heritage. You know, it's like it's inherent in how we live and how we walk and how we, you know, present ourselves, how we reflect on who we are, how we are accepting of our flaws when we're trying to achieve what society might deem as perfection, right? And just understanding that you are a magical being. Like, nobody can do what you're doing because there's only one you.
It's just so overwhelming how much Blackness is degraded and feared, you know, seen as ripe for abuse or ignored or disregarded. It's just a shame because if you think about, first of all, music, going back to music. The music of America is the music of Black people, and that has been the way it's been for over 100 years or maybe longer. Black people have been the driving forces in fashion. You know, street fashion of Black people in the 30s and 40s quickly became a thing that young people embraced. Black language, Black, you know, like jive, you know, that's strictly everything that we call cool or, you know, fabulous has all been touched by Black people. And, you know, it's just a shame because it's been appropriated and stolen and rebranded.
Even if we are not expected to go above and beyond, we still do it anyway because we're so fiercely passionate about the things that we want. So that's what it is for me, is just, you know, just being Black and proud and like just going for what you want, you know, independently. I think that Black Girl Magic is just being secure in yourself, that self-love, whether it's like your hair or your curves or your profession or just who you are, just being solidified in that is what that means to me. And it's beautiful. Like, I love it. Black Girl Magic to me is also just, you know, having that voice to just stand up for who you are and what you believe in, and standing up for your Black sisters, for your Black brothers, for yourself, most importantly. So that is what Black Girl Magic means to me.
We are human. We, especially women, we're women. Like, we do have a softer side to us, and I think we should be allowed and afforded the opportunity to be able to show people the softer side of Black women. You know, we can be fun and feminine and all of these great things that I think a lot of women that are not Black are afforded just by default. It is one of the most damaging tropes about Black women to say that we can't show emotion and we can't show that I don't have it right now. You know, I don't have the energy to push forward. I don't have the energy to be this like superwoman all the time. I think allowing Black women that flexibility to be able to just have that downtime and then maybe be able to bounce back, because that's what a human is. Woo! That's a wrap, everybody. Kiki!